Hi, I'm Frank Coel. I'm excited to share this next clip with you from a content marketing bootcamp that I ran recently. In this clip, we're going to talk about campaign promotion. Let's face it, you need to spend a heck of a lot of time promoting your content, not just developing your content. So watch this video. We're going to talk about that specifically. Let me know what you think. Next thing we want to talk about is promotion. So you've done a lot of work to this point, right? Thought a lot about your strategy. You thought a lot about how to actually build out your campaign. Once you've done that, you have to do the very next thing, which is to promote your content. This is not a build it and they will come kind of thing. Now, from an organic SEO standpoint, there is a little bit of that for sure. You can build out your content and it'll sit there, it'll get indexed. If you've done a good job with your research, you should pick up some traffic from it. It may be near term, it may be very long term. And it can vary and everything in between. But the bulk of what you're after is being very proactive by promoting your content. Your content marketing effort should be equally weighted in distributing and promoting content. So if you're spending 80% of your time creating the content and only 20% of your time promoting it, you've got it a little bit backwards, okay? Half your time should be spent promoting content. Content marketing is as much about getting it out there and getting it connected to the right audiences and in front of the right audience as it is about creating it. So a distribution and promotion calendar will help you remain strategic and consistent. Now you can run your calendar in a linear format or a very calendar format. It's up to you and whatever you're comfortable with. And on your calendar, when you identify what's being distributed when and what's being promoted where, you want to identify, okay, this is a blog post on our website. This is a video on YouTube. You want to do some things, whether it's color coding or other identifiers, to help you understand what's what on your content calendar. But you want to get it calendared out, I should say at least 1 month at a time, ideally you're 3 months at a time. So quarterly content calendar and quarterly distribution and promotion calendar, those go hand in hand. So however long your content calendar is, you want to have your distribution promotion calendar match up with it in terms of how far out you are. So what do you put on this distribution and promotion calendar? Let's talk about a few of those things. Well, this is a very, very basic distribution and promotion set of components that need to be in your content marketing campaign. So first of all, your own website/blog is a critical place to distribute your content. So that's got to happen at minimum. Social channels. That's another place where you're going to distribute and promote content. Your website is more about distribution. Your social channels are more about promotion. Does that make sense? So then you want to identify how often are you going to promote that piece of content. So you come up with a new blog post. How often are you going to promote it? You should promote it more than once, yes. And you should find different ways to promote it. So for example, if your blog post is 20 places in Carlsbad for under $20, I can think of 21 different ways to promote that right off the top of my head, right? The first one is the title of the article itself. Done. The other 20, each place becomes a social media post headline and an opportunity to promote it in a different way. Media websites. Media websites are things like YouTube and SlideShare and Vimeo, Dribbble if you're a designer. The other thing you can do with some of your headlines, and this is getting a little tactical, but in the 20 under 20, you could say, you're going to really love number 5, right? So now we've teased it. Well, why am I going to love number 5? Click. We talked about this earlier, Darlene and I, at the break. She had a question about the title tag and the titles. One thing you should always keep in mind is your titles and your social media headlines, their job is to sell the click. That's their job, to sell the click. Because when your title on your web page gets indexed in Google and people do a Google search, what comes up on that set of Google search results needs to entice them to click on your page. When you post a social media post, all you're trying to do is sell the click into your website, sell the click over to where you want them to go, okay? So it should sell the click. So media websites, going back to this, those are things like YouTube, those are things like Vimeo, those are things like SlideShare, any other place you can distribute content that you don't exactly own, okay? So get it distributed on your own blog, get it distributed on your own social channels, get it distributed on media websites, and finally, and these are the minimum things you need to be doing, You don't have to do like a YouTube distribution every week, but these are the things that need to be in your basic mix, your own email list. So when you have a new article that comes out, you absolutely should let your list know about that new article. And ideally, you're segmenting your list so that way you don't let, persona A, who cares nothing about what persona B cares about, right? Ideally, you segment, but you want to let your own list know about it. So this should be in your basic toolkit of where you distribute and promote content. There are other things you can do, but this is your basic toolkit. So what I want you to do, and again, you'll want to go back and really think about your calendar. This is not something you do in a half hour, but I want you to think, how do all these things fit and what kind of cadence are you trying to create? We're going to talk about cadence here in a moment. You have to ask yourself which social channels are right for your brand. Don't try to do too many. Right? Just because Snapchat's all the rage right now doesn't mean you necessarily need to do it. Right? What's right for your audience? What's right for your brand? Where is your audience? Which media websites are right for your brand? Do you need to be on YouTube? Do you need to be distributing content there? You guys might have something interesting with doing some crazy things with how-tos or some fun stuff. You guys ever see this guy who will take things and put them in blenders to see if it will blend? Those videos go crazy, and what he's demonstrating is that this blender is the most amazing blender you can buy ever, and he's having fun with it because, let's face it, who's reading about blenders? Nobody. Now, interestingly enough, if they were to do a blog, what would it be about? Not blenders. Would it be about cooking, right? Or making amazing meals at home? Well, smoothies might be a little too much of a niche in the blog. Right, yes. But you can have recipes in there, right? Like if the editorial mission is about helping people cook healthy meals at home, if that's their editorial mission, then by the way, smoothies and all these other things. There you go. So you guys need to determine which media websites are right for your brand. Where should you be present? Where should you engage? Okay, we talk about frequency, right? So here's some suggested minimum frequency for each of these channels. Do one per month, one blog post. Do at least one social post per week, which is almost like doing nothing. So I was a little hesitant whether I was going to say one or just pick a number, one a day kind of thing. But if you do one per week, it's just going to quickly get lost in someone's feed. And maybe one piece for one of your media websites that you participate in per month, and one email per month, right? That's like a minimum distribution and promotion. If you do this and you just get consistent with it, you'll start to pick up a little traction. Obviously, the more you do it, the better, right? Now, there's a balance between quantity and quality. So don't put out shit just for the sake of pumping that number up. If you can put out the quality, then you increase the quantity. And so ideally, you aim for 2 to 4 blog posts per month. HubSpot did an interesting set of research on at what point do you get to diminishing returns. And they found out as soon as they went over 6 blog posts a day, then it started to fall off. So that's what you potentially could do. Obviously, that requires big budgets, big resources, right? So this is kind of like if you want to step it up and get a much more frequent cadence going with your audience and engaging. Again, this is basic. You can definitely get into other strategies. You mentioned podcast and some of those other things. Basic tips, a few very basic tips when promoting content. Adjust the content by channel. So what you push out on Twitter will be quite a bit different than how you push it out on Facebook. Twitter, you have a limited character count. Facebook, you have quite a bit more. And I would not underestimate Facebook if you're a B2B. Some people think that that's not a great place to promote content if you're B2B, but I will tell you, especially on the paid side, Facebook has some amazing targeting options to, yes, get to people based on where they work, okay? Because let's face it, you may work in a B2B, but throughout the day and when you go home, you check Facebook. If you happen to stumble across content that's highly relevant to your job, you're going to read it, okay? So I would just, again, test and see what works. And so adjust by channel. Great headlines. It was once said that 80% of the people will read the headline and then the rest won't read anything else. So you have to become really good at writing headlines. And if that's not you, make sure the copywriter you work with is really well versed in writing great headlines. Not just writing journalistic copy. Headlines sell the click. Okay, CTA language is important. So in your post and when you distribute and you promote your content, you want them to do something, right? So the headline needs to be intriguing, but if there's some sort of call to action, which is, hey, check it out now, download it now, get yours today, read more. Play with your CTA language because it's really important. Again, you're trying to sell the click, right? You're trying to get them to click through and actually consume that content. And then lastly, if you're going to be using hashtags on your social media channel, find out which ones are appropriate. Don't just put anything just because. Find out which ones are appropriate and see if there's a current conversation going on with that hashtag where you can add value and be relevant. Thanks for watching. Again, let me know what you think in the comments below. And also in the description, we have a link to some free resources based on this Content Marketing Bootcamp that we ran. So if you want to learn more and get access to those assets that we delivered in the Content Marketing Bootcamp, go to the link below, fill out the form, and we'll send it off to you. Thanks again.